Hopefully. And you are now behind enemy lines. I just realized I have the wrong background up here. That's the This Week in Democracy background with the Capitol and everything going on in the back.
I like that background.
You like it? Okay, so
it's
number
January
1?
6-ish. You know what I mean?
Well, we got, okay, so number 1 or number 2?
I like the January 6th feel to the other one.
Number 1 or number 2?
Here we go.
Gene to me, whatever. No,
Gene must have had an eye appointment earlier today.
Oh, did you? How'd it go?
No, I'm asking if you did. Number 1 or number 2?
Oh, no. I was just quoting a Family Guy riff there. But yeah.
Well, I'm actually just glad you're here, man, because I heard like some New Yorkers got arrested for impeding ICE operations. I thought you might have got mixed up in that.
Listen, I'm crazy, but I'm not stupid. Let's just say that. As people start filing in, hey there, everybody. How we doing? I see the coffee grinder in the house with us. Glad you're here, my friend. Ross, how was your week? What happened? What's been going on?
So good. Enjoying the news. There's actually a lot in the news. I know what we're going to talk about, but
we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff between here and buffonology, and there's certainly a lot of stuff. Are you a fan of like following these trials and the whole Karen Reed trial thing? Did you follow that at all?
I followed it slightly. I was a little shocked because it turns out that she was found guilty for DUI, but not guilty for running someone over and possibly killing him.
Well, and let me explain to you, this was a bit of brilliance on the part of the defense. The defense requested that as a lesser included charge because they wanted to give the jury something to hang their hat on to hold her accountable for something, because the prosecution certainly didn't make the case for either murder or manslaughter or any other lesser included. So brilliant lawyering. So anytime I see brilliant lawyering, I got to give a tip of the cap there.
See, you see brilliant lawyering. I see she's the white female O.J. Simpson of our time.
Whoa, wait a minute now. No, I think that she didn't do it. I honestly believe she didn't do it.
You don't think she ran her boyfriend over?
There's no evidence that there was a collision.
There's blood on the car. She was drunk. They had a fight.
There's no evidence of a collision. None whatsoever.
Oh, my God.
I followed the evidence.
So the cops framed her. That's what you believe. Their defense was that the cops framed her.
Cop found dead on the property of another cop, and they don't even bother to go in and investigate that cop's house. Yeah, I think there's a little something there.
All right.
I think there may be something there. But listen,
O.J. Reed.
We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some politics here. And as the title of the show implies, we've seen since our last show last week on Wednesday, pal, we have seen this Kabuki theater develop among Democrats. And we're going to be talking about 2 instances of these Kabuki theatrics by Democrats against federal law enforcement. But before we get to all that, I just want to invite everybody to please hit the thumbs up button during the live broadcast, or if you're watching on replay, please do the same there as well. If you like what you're seeing here in this or any other video we have on the channel, I want you to also go and like those videos and, of course, subscribe to the channel. That helps the channel grow. And by hitting the thumbs up right now, you're letting YouTube know that you want others to come and hang out with us on this stream. So if you can definitely do that, I greatly appreciate it. And by the way, as we develop this show, And we had some exciting developments about sponsorships and stuff like that that maybe will clue you in later on. This is a show that is created for you. Hopefully one day will be funded by you. So if the mood strikes you and you want to say something, obviously all comments in the chat are welcome. We monitor the entire chat. But if you want to do a super chat, we're not going to turn it down. We're capitalists. We like money. So think about that as we talk about what's going on with these stupid Democrats. So last week, pal, as we kind of were going off into buffoonology land, we ended up hearing about this story about Senator Alex Padilla basically getting ragdolled and thrown down during a press conference that was being held in California in a federal facility that was being held by Department of Homeland Security head Kristi Noem. Did you take a look at this video? I mean, there were lots of different versions of it out there.
Oh, I saw it in real time, and I was wondering what the heck was going on when I heard the rumbling in the background. She kept going as if there was nothing happening out there.
Screw you, continue.
By the way, in my defense, Gene, I did not know that the thumbs up meant something. I just thought it was a stupid emoji thing. So I've been hitting the thumbs down a lot, just thinking that it was like an emoji. My bad.
Sure. 37 episodes in, it's your bad. Got it. No problem. But continue on. So you were watching it in real time.
I was watching real time, and Secretary Noem was speaking, and you could tell there was something going on in the background. And then finally the cameras turned around, and it just literally looked like a dirtbag Democrat protester, like they normally do, interrupting or obstructing an official proceeding like they're known to have done. And then it turns out, I know we have some video, but Padilla, by the way, he's a senator from California. Has anyone ever heard of him before? I never did.
We're going to get to that point in a second, certainly.
But he wasn't wearing his little security pin that they get. And I know we're going to watch this scene, but I just want to say this is the part that pissed me off, and I want this to be the flavor. They made a big deal about him being a senator, and once they figured out that he was, they let him go. Why? And if I did that, would I have been let go?
And that's something I want to talk about with you as well. But let's set the stage here. Here is the incident involving Senator Alex Padilla at this press conference. This is the fullest video and the longest video, I think, with the best views that I could find here. So let's take a look at this.
Guys, ready? And bell. Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
I believe Russ's favorite part is coming up right about now.
On the ground.
Here comes Ross, just for you.
On your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go, I put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I did not know. There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right?
So there's the incident. Now, I do want to take some of the points that you were saying one by one here. First one being he announced that he's Senator Alex Padilla at some point in that video. Okay.
Yeah.
I can walk in there saying I'm the Queen of Siam. What exactly does announcing your presence without any sort of identification mean to anyone? I knew that was going to pop you. I knew it was going to pop you. So, 1 point, Gene.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right, Gene. So what I don't understand, and I've heard lots of Democrats say this, not with just Padilla, with other incidents as well, that they're just performing their oversight, their constitutional oversight function. No, a co-equal branch of government doesn't get to barge into a press conference and then just disrupt the event and shout out and try to embarrass the speaker, right? That's not co-equal branches of government. That's not checks and balances. And that damn sure isn't congressional oversight. He should have been treated like a common criminal, like anyone else that would have done that. No one is above the law. The Democrats have been saying this for years now. So that's it.
Right, and think of it this way. It's you or me. This is a room controlled by law enforcement. I believe it was the FBI that controlled the room. This was a press conference where reporters were granted access to hear announcements from DHS and to have the opportunity to ask questions in an orderly fashion. I barge into this room thinking I have access to it because there's a public statement being made and I'm a member of the public. I could be there. And I go in and I start walking towards the podium in a rapid manner. And I announce, I'm Gene Berardelli and I have a question for the secretary while she's in the middle of speaking. I'm getting handled just as Alex Padilla was handled there. And this is the beauty of no one being above the law. I think that just about anyone who did what Alex Padilla did, who had the lack of credentials that Alex Padilla had on display, would have been treated the exact same way. I don't see what the problem is here.
And there literally is no problem, right? The problem is him and the deranged left. If he wanted a meeting with the Secretary of Homeland Security, all he had to do was ask for one. He would have gotten a private. He actually did get a meeting after he put on that little show with her, where they spoke for quite a while. They disagreed, but it was like it was supposed to be done. You asked for a sit down. She gave you a sit down. She answered your stupid questions, and they moved on, right? There was literally no reason. The Democrats are struggling, Gene. They're hysterical, and they're putting on these little stunts because they have nothing else. It's really embarrassing. It's funny to watch, and I don't even know if they're obviously not grown up enough to be embarrassed. Like one of the comments in the chat, like he cried on the House floor, on the floor of the Senate. I don't know if you have that clip, but that's like humiliating. When was the last time you cried, Gene? And when was the last time you cried in public? Is a better question.
Probably over the death of my father about 10 years ago.
Yes, and even then, over a death. And even then, you like struggle to hold it in, right? These Democrat men, supposedly, just love to cry in public, right? It's a show, or they really are that soft. Either way, it's unacceptable.
It's definitely a show, and it definitely raises the profile of these Democrats for their own base. The way that we say we have red meat for Republicans, this is blue meat for Democrats, I guess.
For who, though? Democrat women?
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know for who.
The demographic they're struggling with is men. What man sees a senator from California crying?
First of all, who knew he was a senator from California before this incident?
No one knew who he was. I still barely know who he is.
Could you pick him out of the lineup?
This is his claim to fame now.
Yeah, that's all it is. Unless you're politically plugged in California, I don't think any law enforcement officer would be able to say, oh, look, that's Senator Alex Padilla from California coming at me. I wonder what he's doing, without his little senator pin on his lapel, which would have signaled to law enforcement, hey, this guy is part of the government. Take it easy. Or, you know.
And there's 535 members of Congress, plus 9 in the Supreme Court, plus countless, executive branch, high-ranking people and secretary heads. They can't be expected to know them all. They have a pin for a reason. And for argument's sake, if he was wearing the pin and acted the fool like he did, I think the outcome should have been the same. You get dragged out.
Great comment by Coffee Grinder. Doesn't want to be plugged in anyway to California. I sense there's a dirty joke there, but you can all make up your own. But you mentioned Padilla's speech on the floor of the Senate. I do have a clip of that we can go to, and I want to jump in between what he's saying here so we can show how stupid a lot of these statements are.
So last week, when I heard something so blatantly un-American from the Secretary of Homeland Security, a cabinet official, of course I was compelled, both as a senator and as an American, to speak up.
And that's called impulse control. When you have lack of control of your own impulses, you do stupid things. You decide, I'm going to go to this FBI-controlled room and make myself look like a fool and get thrown down to the ground because I have something to say. I'm so goddamn self-important that I must be recognized in any room that I walk into because I am a fucking senator.
Bro, where is MTG when you need her? How awesome would it have been if she stormed into the Senate chamber and just started shouting questions at Padilla and charged his little desk over there as he was speaking right now, right? That would have been awesome. And I would have said, as an American and as a member of the House of Representatives, I felt compelled to speak up. What would have happened?
Exactly right. Well, I'd be tackled down to the ground, escorted out of the room with severe prejudice, and probably thrown into the jail in the Capitol, which, by the way, they have. Well, let's get back to the clip.
But before I could even get out my question, I was physically and aggressively forced out of the room.
I'm sorry, was Alex Padilla recognized from the podium with Kristi Noem to be allowed to answer a question, or was Kristi Noem still in the middle of her statement to the press before she would open it up to questions?
She was literally reading her prepared statement before taking questions. This guy's a clown.
The arrogance and the audacity of thinking that you can just control the room like this is completely buffoonish and asinine. But again, it's a symptom of that arrogance and audacity and being compelled to resist that is just infecting Democrats right now that you were talking about earlier. What drives an otherwise reasonable person, and again, I don't necessarily know whether he is or not, but what would drive a reasonable person to behave in such a manner that they can become so inflamed in this way that they lose all ability to reason and control themselves?
Yeah, well, these are the lunatics running the state of California right now. Is there any wonder why Trump sent the National Guard and the Marine Corps in there to restore order and some sanity? This is the mindset in that state. This is what they produce.
Ross, would any of these people have the same vim and vigor to audaciously go into these spaces in defense of an American citizen? That's what I want to know. Because they're doing all this for illegal immigrants being deported because of a criminal prior history or a failure to appear and otherwise breaking the law. I want to know which one of these politicians is going to go to bat for me in the way that Alex Padilla is going to bat for violent illegal immigrants.
The only one would have been Mr. Hogg, and they kicked him out, Gene. You're on your own.
Oh, okay. See, Coffee Grind is keeping on the theme here. I think he likes it forcefully and rough, but then again, he can cry again, I guess. Oh, yeah. That's a Coffee Grind is on a roll tonight, and I'm loving it. He's in that feisty mood that we need right now. Let's get sentence 3 out of Padilla. We can make a 2-minute clip just last forever. Really, we got to stop.
Even as I repeatedly announced I was a United States Senator, and I had a question for the Secretary.
So fucking what?
No kings, Gene. No kings.
No kings. No kings. We fought a war over it.
He announced like there were trumpets. I am a United States Senator. Who cares?
Yeah, get to the back of the line like the rest of us there, Senator.
I'm not even sure he won. I think he was appointed by Newsom, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. I thought it was that black woman who was around last term that had won. I don't know. I know.
Spoiler alert, probably going to be Gene's Buffoon of the Week pick. No, I'm only kidding.
It came close. You know, if we weren't talking about it on this show, it came pretty close.
I meant the black woman.
Oh, stop it. For those of you who don't know, maybe you don't follow Buffoonology 101. I hope that you do, because it's every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Ross likes to call me a racist and misogynist because I happen to pick buffoons without regard to race, ethnicity, color, creed, religion, orientation. Ross just likes to pick on white people. That's his thing. But anyways.
And even as the National Guardsman and the FBI agent who served as my escorts and brought me into that press briefing room stood by.
By the way, I just saw the comment from Coffee Grinder. I'm not putting it on the screen, but man, that's tough. I hope everybody's okay. And feel free to shit talk as much as you want tonight, for as long as you need to tonight. Just glad that you're okay. I'm not gonna put your business out on the wider stream here, but thoughts and prayers for you, man.
Silently, knowing full well who I was.
Knowing full well.
You've seen the video. I was pushed and pulled, struggled to maintain my balance. I was forced to the ground. First on my knees, and then flat on my chest.
I fought the law and the law won.
He said he struggled to maintain his balance. Bro, you got folded up like a cheap suit. You went down like a ton of bricks, man. There was no struggling to maintain your balance.
He collapsed like a flan in a cupboard is what he did, as we saw. Yeah, you know what? That's what happens, man. That's what happens when you struggle and you resist law enforcement. You were given lawful orders to get out, back up. If you would have followed those lawful orders, I doubt you would have been taken down to the ground. But you struggled for a good 20, 25 seconds against multiple law enforcement officers, federal law enforcement officers. And they did what they had to do to get you under control. You were wilding out, bro. And that's what happened. You entered the find out period of your fucking around. That's what happened there. The arrogance, bro. The audacity.
And it's not even the worst example of it, even though this is so pathetic. What made it newsworthy was this little crying that he did. And making it so dramatic, like he was picked on or they targeted him. Don't you love when people put a target on themselves and then say they were targeted? He brought this upon himself, literally.
Literally. He could have been wearing his senator pin. He could have walked in politely instead of storming in and boldly interrupting and approaching the podium like a perceived threat. He could have done so many things differently that would have ended up so much better for him. Instead, he's crying on the floor of the Senate.
But this is what he wanted. This is the best case scenario for him. Now we know who he is, sort of.
I mean, for a week, maybe. I don't know how much we're going to know him in a couple months or so. He'll just be, oh, yeah, that guy that got took down. That's who he'll be.
He should have gotten locked up, though, to be honest.
We'll talk about that in a second. I just want to continue on with the crying.
And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why.
Because it was fucking self-explanatory.
Bro, it was on camera. Did he watch the video? Why were you being detained?
Why, Lord? Why is this happening to me?
They went into his house and they detained it. No, they didn't. Right? You went into a place where you shouldn't have been and did something you shouldn't have done. And you're asking, why are you being detained?
Why, Lord? Why me? Oh, my God. He can't be this oblivious. This has to be Kabuki theater, right?
It's got to be. It's got to be, man. We're always torn. Are leftists dumb? Yeah, especially their rank and file guys. But this guy, he became a U.S. senator. So I have to believe he's not totally dumb, right? He knows what he's doing. He knows what he did. He knows this little show he's putting on. He thinks it's helping him in some way. I haven't seen one, and I did dabble in the CNN, MSNBC sphere. I haven't seen one real positive review of this performance right here. Not one.
Oh, no. They're going to let it just speak on its own because this is his 15 minutes. This is his moment of fame here. This is what he's going to be known for. That's going to hopefully propel him to election in his mind.
I pray you never have a moment like this. But I will tell you, in that moment, a lot of questions came to my mind. First of all, where are they taking me? Because
jail, motherfucker. I mean, he's watched too many movies. They're gonna put a black bag over his head. They're gonna throw him in a nondescript white van, and they're gonna drive him down to the docks, and then release the hood. And he's gonna be in some warehouse room, empty with no stock in it, sitting in a chair in the middle of the room with a spotlight on him. And they're gonna ask him, "Who are you working for?"
Bro, he is such a drama queen. It's like, where are they taking me? They're taking you to Guantanamo Bay. Where the fuck do you think they're taking you, man? They're all trying to do the Kamala Harris tactic and try to imply without saying it, because they know it doesn't work, that Trump is a dictator and is an authoritarian regime. Right? Like, that's the underlying theme to all of these idiots that are doing these stunts.
Yeah. Hey, pal, I'm going to try something a little different here, see if this works. There's a new feature here where we can show the comments on the screen on the right side here. Let's see I want to see if any of them pop up as we continue on with Padilla. So, guys, if you want to just drop a comment to test that out.
No, I'm not just being escorted out of the building. Am I being arrested here? And what will a city already on edge from being militarized think when they see their United States senator being handcuffed just for trying to ask a question?
Well, the good thing is no one knows who you are.
Yeah, and he's just for asking a question. Oh, my God. Who has ever gotten arrested for asking a question in America? Really?
Donald Trump asking about the election.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that might be one. All right, so we know it works, but it's a little too tiny. I'm going to keep it off the screen. But yeah.
Yeah. Do me a favor, Gene. It is a little tiny. Keep it off the screen, man.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the comments. What are you talking about?
Sure. That's what they say. Huh? Piece of shit. Anyways, Padilla's hyperbole and the minimization of what he actually did here shows that he has a reckless disregard for anything, because he's so goddamn self-important. He's such a damn narcissist that everything he does should be allowed, permitted, and he should have carte blanche to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, Gene, can you imagine the uproar if Senator Ted Cruz did that same thing to a female Department of Homeland Security secretary appointed by the Democrats? Can you imagine what would have happened if Ted Cruz did the same exact thing and the roles were reversed?
Yeah, I can certainly imagine that. I want to take this off the screen a second. I want you to address this question from Coffee Grinder. They think that this is confirmation of how much of a sissy you are.
Well, he's talking about Padilla.
Yeah. I think it's the other way around. I think that Padilla is actually being fearful and feminizing himself to fit in with what the left's archetype of a man is these days. We see that they're spending $20 million on trying to learn how to speak to men. And this is a man on the left, and he's probably acting how the left thinks men should be acting here.
I don't know, Gene. I get the sense that they really are trying to convince people that they are in fear of a tyrannical executive. Like, they want people to believe that Donald Trump has henchmen who are going to lock you up if you ask questions, and that, the executive branch is running amok. Like, they're ignoring that the courts keep overstepping their Article 3 powers and doing nationwide injunctions and trying to thwart everything that the administration is doing, under their Article 2 powers, right? They like to ignore that. But they want you to think that Donald Trump is a dictator. That's why he's doing this.
Absolutely. We got a lot more to get to, but we are just about at halftime here on the show. So time to do a little halftime grift here. I'm Gene. He's Ross. We are Behind Enemy Lines here on the Buffoon of the Week channel on YouTube, on Rumble, on X. Wherever you're watching us, we're glad that you're here with us. Thanks so much for being with us tonight on this lovely evening. Or if you're watching on replay, we're glad that you're here as well. Please check out the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff wherever you're watching. And if you want some other ways to support the channel, you can always check us out at buffoonoftheweek.com, where we will have supplemental coverage of everything that we do here. Different blog posts. We have monthly quizzes. We have polls for our other shows like Buffoonology 101. And there's also links to our merch shop, which you can find on YouTube under the shop tab, but also at shop.buffoonoftheweek.com. Check that out as well. So we went through one instance of Kabuki theatrics, but I think the more egregious instance of this sort of look at me narcissism politics that is coming from the left happened earlier this week in the People's Republic of New York City, involving mayoral candidate and comptroller Brad Lander. Ross, you used to live in the People's Republic of New York City. Do you even remember who Brad Lander is?
No clue whatsoever. I knew a guy named Landry, not Lander.
And by the way, you once held a party title in Brooklyn, New York, where Brad Lander hails from and was once a member of council. Did you even remember that?
Nope. He's a loser. He's like a Padilla, but in New York.
Well, before this incident that we're going to be talking about, Brad Lander was a city council member from a very far left area of Brooklyn, near downtown Brooklyn, which is very, very ultra liberal, ultra high net worth area, much like Dan Goldman is for Congress. And then he became comptroller, because that's what the party machine does. They elevate people up to different levels. And now he's running for mayor of the People's Republic of New York in a very heavy Democratic field. And to say that he hasn't been doing great is a bit of an understatement. If you look at the polls, and I just want to, let me take down the banner, and I will bring up a poll to share with you here. If you look at all the polls taken before this incident that happened yesterday as we're taping this, you wouldn't be shocked to see that Brad Lander isn't exactly doing great in this primary. I don't know if this is easy for you guys to see, but this is from the New York Times, and this is talking about like some of the aggregated polls going on here. Brad Lander, in the three most recent polls, two of which ended on Monday, had been polling at 6%, 9%, and 8% respectively. When you compare that to, pieces of crap like Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani, who are polling at, upper 30s, lower 40s respectively, you realize that Lander doesn't really have a snowball's chance in hell of winning. So what do you do when you don't have a chance to win? Well, it's pretty simple. You start making a fool of yourself, and you hope that helps you propel to some instant momentum. And there's precedent for this, by the way, pal. I don't know if you can remember that far back, but back during the primaries, I would say 8 years ago, Bill de Blasio was arrested at a protest, and that ended up helping propel him to a win in the Democratic primary there. In fact, I'm going to put this up on the screen just to show that there's precedent for what I'm talking about here. This is an article also from the New York Times, and the headline, de Blasio arrested just as he wanted. And there's the money shot right there for him. This is not new, this Kabuki theater. Bill de Blasio, a candidate for mayor, was slapped into plastic cuffs on Wednesday and driven off in a white police van from outside the Midtown Manhattan offices of the SUNY Chancellor, where de Blasio led a demonstration against the public closing of Long Island College Hospital in Brooklyn, which happens to be in the same area where Brad Lander was representing when he was in the city council. Coincidence or playbook, pal?
Bro, have you ever thought you'd live long enough to see the day where Bill de Blasio doesn't seem that extreme as a Democrat anymore? Like, Bill de Blasio was probably the worst mayor of the city of New York ever. I would say in our lifetime, but I would venture to say ever, even with all the corruption in Tammany Hall and all those things.
Really?
Bill de Blasio was probably the worst. because he got handed a pretty good city and drove it into the dirt relatively quickly.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I would agree
to
with that.
today's standards, man, he is not that bad compared to his kinfolk in the Democratic Party running around New York and California.
Well, I mean, he's pretty bad. Let's not minimize de Blasio just because there's new hotness going on right now. Let's not do that.
Well, I mean, even that arrest at that protest, he I don't think de Blasio would try to impede federal officers doing their job. I just don't think he would do it. He would talk a good game, but I don't think he'd be dumb enough to do what these guys are doing now.
Well, yeah, he's a soft Nancy boy. I would agree with that. But Brad Lander took this to the nth degree now in this video outside of a federal immigration court in 26 Federal Plaza. It's a federally controlled office building. I'm going to be stopping and starting through this, pal, because there's certain points I want to make with you that we're going to be discussing throughout here. But here is some video of the incident involving Brad Lander. And we're going to stop it right in the beginning because I want you to watch what he does when he sees the officers approaching this illegal immigrant that's going to be on the left side of him. Right there. Did you see that? I'm going to rewind it back so everybody can see it again.
He did the little
hang on. Gotta go back to
kumbaya lock elbow routine.
Yep, right there. Locks arms with the person that the officers, I think it was ICE, it could be Federal Protective Service, could be Homeland Security. I don't know exactly who it was. One of those federal agencies that came up to him.
Guys, back up, guys. Back up. I understand. You're pregnant, but I need you to back up. If you're interfering with this arrest, we have to arrest.
Did you hear the conversation there? I need you to back up. Are you going to interfere with this arrest? The officer is trying to de-escalate and talk down the situation here, which is what they're trained to do.
I have a question, Gene.
Yeah, sure.
What business did the New York City comptroller have in a federal courthouse? Why was he there?
Because he has made it his mission, his self-appointed mission, to escort illegal immigrants around the city. He's been doing this for a couple of days now.
Well, I'm assuming this was a weekday during work hours. Why was he there? Why wasn't he comptrolling the city of New York with their, $160 billion budget or whatever it is?
Right. He has, as Coffee Grinder says, he has no legal standing in this incident. Absolutely. He's not doing that work because he's running for office. He's on the campaign trail.
On company time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just like you and I would be able to do. Right?
Sure.
Absolutely. So let's continue on with the clip here.
Back up, guys.
I just want to stop it there. They're obviously trying to physically pull him apart. He is resisting, and he's asking the officer, do you have a judicial warrant? For those of you who may not know, again, the setting of this was a federal immigration court. Guess what you don't need in order to arrest an illegal immigrant in and around a federal building outside of federal immigration court? Oh, that's right. You don't need a judicial warrant. All you need is an administrative warrant signed by an immigration official, and that's good enough to effectuate the arrest. I don't know if people know that. Certainly Brad Lander didn't know it, pal. Or maybe he did, and he just didn't give a shit and wanted his viral moment.
Yeah, and for those people that have paid attention to the news over the last couple of days, the Trump administration put out a terrific stat that they said May of 2025, the administration released exactly 0 border crossers into the country. 0. In May of last year, the Biden administration released over 62,000 into the country. Why? Because immigration law says that if you are here illegally, you are to be detained until you get your hearing in a court. Not that you get to live here, work here, send your kids to school here, start a life, grow roots in the community, go to court hearings when you choose to. You're supposed to be detained if you are here legally until your due process, right? So all the people roaming around, including this guy in this video with the idiotic comptroller of the city of New York, should be detained, and that's what these agents are doing. They're not doing anything wild. They're waiting in immigration courts, waiting for these people to show up, and they're still going to get their due process, but they're going to be detained until they get their hearings. And that's the way it's supposed to be. And if Congress don't like it, by the way, Congress should change it. They made that law. They are enforcing, the executive branch is doing their constitutional duty, enforcing the laws of the land, duly enacted under the Constitution of the United States.
And what Trump is doing also, and I think this needs to be pointed out, he has been taking some of these immigration court proceedings, and those that have cases have been dismissed, and they've been placing these illegal immigrants in expedited removal, which is a fast-track deportation that allows for a deportation to go forward without going before these judges. So these people are going to court finding out that their proceeding has been dismissed and they've been fast-tracked for deportation. What better place to grab them and detain them than at a court proceeding where they're being transitioned from this normal court proceeding to this expedited process?
Government efficiency. I don't know if Doge helped streamline this process or not, but it seems to be working
even
better.
It's even better, pal, because under past administrations, like you just were talking about, a dismissal of a case was a signal that the government wasn't prioritizing their deportation. So the word that was probably out there was, oh, your case got dismissed? Yeah, show up to the dismissal. They're not going to be going after you that much anymore, except they are. It's a brilliant tactic by the Trump administration in this sort of reform, that a proceeding that would have normally lulled someone into a sense of security is now showing up to be a fast track to getting sent back out, which to me is just brilliant. Just want to grab a comment here. Judicial warrant is used to access secured, restricted, or private property, which requires a judge's signature. Absolutely correct. We didn't need one of those here, but still, Lander and his people are asking for this judicial warrant, and he's doing it in the middle of a physical tussle with law enforcement.
This is not legal to take someone without a judicial warrant.
Please don't put him
And whoever that woman was, she's totally wrong.
in the elevator and then claim you have the warrant.
We don't have a warrant for him.
I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant?
Now, Ross, I know you have a little bit of a law enforcement background from when you were in the military. I think you worked as an MP for a while. Is this obstruction of an official proceeding?
Yeah, well, it's definitely obstruction, period. I don't want to use the 1512 language that they went after the January 6th protesters with, but clearly he is impeding that arrest, right? There's no doubt about that.
You know what? Let me say it a different way. Is he impeding a federal officer in the course of his duties?
100%, Gene. He should have been thrown to the ground harder than Padilla and arrested right there on the spot, right? He is clearly obstructing justice there. They are doing their duty in accordance with the law, and he is obstructing.
Does it look to you like he is assaulting law enforcement?
It could be argued yes, right? And I would let a court decide that, but at the bare minimum, he should have been arrested. And he should have been removed from the facility, right? What was his purpose there?
His purpose there was to escort illegal immigrants into this court proceeding and try to escort them out of the building. And clearly it was to impede federal officers should they showed up, like they did here.
Well, his purpose was, much like Padilla and much like you opened the segment with, to get in the news, get his name out there, and get arrested. Like, that's what he wanted. But I say give it to him, right? F him. He got the publicity, but now let's get a charge on him.
And that's what the DOJ is currently investigating. Because unlike with Padilla that we were talking about earlier, DOJ is investigating whether or not charges should be brought here. So let's continue on.
So show it. Let us see it. So let us see it before you take us to warrant.
Excuse me, please stay back, stay back. Let's go! Take it back, take it back. Stay back. Step back. Please, step back, guys, step back.
U.S. citizens. You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens.
So now Lander is saying that they don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Once again, Brad Lander, who wants to be mayor of the People's Republic of New York City, is completely wrong on the law, because immigration agents, while they can't arrest U.S. citizens on immigration grounds, they can certainly arrest U.S. citizens for offenses committed in the agent's presence. That's the law. And once again, Brad Lander is completely misconstruing and misstating the law here.
Yeah, well, I will give him credit for one thing. I didn't hear him announce that he was the New York City comptroller during this interaction, so I'll give him some props there. And the other thing, which I'm surprised he doesn't know, is I don't know this for a fact, but I'd be willing to bet money that I'm right. If you look at all those agents there, I would be willing to bet that they're not all ICE agents, because the president has authorized joint task forces to go after these people that include other federal agencies, including all federal agents of the DEA, the FBI, the ATF. So are you telling me the ATF can't arrest an American citizen? Is that true? Let me know if that's true, because I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to go do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I got a list of things I would like to do as well.
I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I have to see the judicial warrant.
Please step back.
So he's not saying he's the comptroller. Other people around him are saying it.
Step back, guys. You can take pictures, but please stay back.
Stay back, please. Stay back, please. Press, we go too. Sorry. No way. I'm safe. Where are you taking him?
To jail.
Since you have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens.
Where are you taking the controller?
And with what authority?
Why are you arresting the city controller, and where are you taking him? No!
Number one's gonna go. Hang on, please. Number one, hold on.
That might have been Lander. I'm not so sure. It might have been. But all these people around are the ones who are instigating the incident even further. Where are you taking him? To jail. Why are you arresting the controller? Because he impeded federal officers. Where's your judicial warrant? Don't need none. And what authority do you have to arrest him? I watched him commit an offense. Point blank period, black and white, open and shut.
Yes. Is it me, Gene, or do the Democrats seem real insurrection-y lately? You know what I mean? Weren't they like big on Donald Trump is pardoning people who pushed Capitol Police officers on January 6th? Okay. So what have the Democrats been doing lately? What are they up to?
Well, you know what?
Real insurrection-y.
Let's give Donald Trump a little credit because he's being consistent. Alex Padilla didn't get any charges against him. Just like Donald Trump would have said that the J6ers shouldn't have gotten any charges against them. So in that respect, Trump might be acting consistently in the administration of justice as he sees it.
Look, I love Donald Trump, bro, but I'm not a fan of consistency and fighting fair. Lock them all up. Fuck them.
That I do know. Another comment from the Coffee Grinder. When we did prison transfers to the feds, we had no... Oh, Coffee Grinder, you were in law enforcement? Or you in corrections? That'll be interesting. We had no idea where they were going. They would have never said, and we never cared. Yeah, I can understand that. If you do have a law enforcement background, that's something you and Galloway both have in common as well.
And what he's saying is right, by the way, for security reasons. Anytime you transport a prisoner, you don't tell people where you're going, when you're going, what route you're taking. You don't allow them to use the phone right before you're about to take them to court if you're leaving a secure facility, right? Because their friends could be waiting in a car and follow you and try to break them free. right? So yeah, that random woman screaming, "Where are you taking the comptroller?" Hysterical as usual. None of your fucking business, right? He'll get his phone call and his due process down in the holding cell, wherever that may be in that building.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, eventually, a couple hours later, Lander was released. Let me take a step back. In the hours after this incident, every single damn Democratic politician in New York took to a podium, got on social media, and were losing their ever-loving minds over this clearly theatrical moment for a struggling mayoral candidate. Everyone wanted in on the gravy train, whether it be other candidates in the race like Mondani, or other candidates in other races like the person who wants to be comptroller, Justin Brannan, who is happens to be a friend of the show. That's why you see Galloway's reaction there. By the way, Justin says hi, by the way. And other people in other offices like Kathy Hochul, who just had her ass handed to her by Elise Stefanik in D.C. a couple days prior. They all got their sound bites in. It became a media frenzy. Everyone wanted in on the show until the main act hit the stage and Lander was speaking outside of where he was released in New York City.
Make sure that at least they get as much help as we can provide, as New York City, as New York State can provide to help them avoid being separated or being detained.
He's referring to illegal immigrants who are set to be deported, that we must do everything we can to help them from facing the consequences of their actions. I'm going to pose the same question I asked during the Padilla segment. Would he be doing this for New Yorkers who are facing criminal charges?
By the way, Gene, look over his shoulder there. Do you notice who came to help get him sprung out of jail? That's none other than Governor Kathy Hochul, who also announced that the state will be paying $50 million worth of legal fees for illegal immigrants to have legal representation. And I'll tell you who should be the maddest, Gene. The maddest subsets of the American people that should be mad, not you. It should be the blacks that have been voting Democrat their entire lives. Because have you ever seen Democrats fight this hard for the black constituency, which votes 95% for the Democrats? Who have the Democrats been going to bat for and actually getting arrested and fighting police for? Gays and illegal immigrants. F you, black people. That's what the Democrats are saying to you.
When was the last time you saw a city elected official escorting around a person who is wanted on charges locally for, let's say, robbing a bodega or, a simple assault and battery or something like that, escorting them around the city so that NYPD couldn't get to them?
This is what the modern the Democratic Party have always been the party of defund the police. They tried to play this game a few years ago and claim it was actually the Republicans and Donald Trump, which was asinine, right? This is their true self. It's back out there again. And they have to fight this. The midterms are rapidly approaching. None of this is helping them. None of it.
No, it's helping with their base, but if you look at reaction across the spectrum of political thought, it's only helping with their base. It's not creating new voters. It's antagonizing a lot of other voters to meet their aggression with aggression. And it's only leading to greater discord between different factions, and that's going to carry over into the election. I'm very interested, though, to see, and we'll let Lander finish his quote here. I want to know what the polling is, because, early voting has started in the People's Republic of New York City. It also happened to have started the same day, I believe, as this incident. Coincidence? But I'd love to see what the polling is saying about people voting for Lander now, who was holding in the mid-single digits before this whole incident happened. A little food for thought as we go through the clip, and I'll let you answer it in a second, pal.
But then when we went back upstairs again, we had these next two cases, this Yoruba gentleman and then Edgardo, who we just tried to walk out of the building. And I think you saw the video. All I tried to do was just hold Edgardo's arm and ask the ICE agents, do you have a warrant? and they would not show me the warrant. And I said I'd let go of his arm as soon as they showed it to me, and they did not show it to me. And
who the fuck are you to dictate terms to law enforcement?
Right in the middle of an arrest.
Yeah. All I was doing was holding his arm, and I asked for a warrant. Who the fuck? Are you his attorney? Are you his legal representation? Do you have the authority to do this on his behalf? Do you have any sort of formalized representation between the two of you? No, you don't. You're an agitator. You're an instigator. That's what you are. I promised I'd let you speak about the point I was trying to make about how this is Kabuki theater, pal.
So first is like, even if he was his attorney, I've never seen an attorney that would advocate and put his own law license at risk by resisting an arrest, right? They would just say, go through the process and we'll sue them after, right? Like that's the first thing. The other thing, Gene, you're talking about the polls and the Kabuki theater aspect of this. New York City's doomed. So I really don't care what the polls say in that mayoral race. The fix is in. It's either going to be the socialist or Andrew Cuomo, one and the same. It doesn't really matter there. What I find more interesting is why I'm saying it doesn't help them and why I think it spells doom in the midterms and beyond is the latest polling coming out of New York State and New Jersey State shows that those gubernatorial races have the Republican candidates within the margin of error in some polls. Now, that is an earthquake considering how many Republicans moved from the Northeast to the Southeast of the United States. To be in the margin of error shows you that the Democratic Party has gone so far to the left, catering to their fringe base, that their gubernatorial candidates in the bluest of blue states might have real challenges coming up.
It certainly seems possible. Obviously, it's a long time away from New York, and New Jersey is going to be sort of a test market here. Certainly, Virginia is going to be a test market as well to see what kind of backlash vote happens the year after a presidential race. And make no mistake, we've seen this in previous cycles, pal. There is a backlash vote reacting to the presidential outcome, and it happens the year after that race. We saw it in Virginia the last presidential cycle. We saw that in 2021 when the Republican won in Virginia, and we saw that the governor of New Jersey, I think he only lost by like 4. He won by like 4 or 5 points or something like that. So we see this trend happening, and who knows if it will hold up this time around. I would say in New York it's a little harder to do because a vast majority of the vote is in New York City, and New York City is under the delusion, the collective delusion of what we're seeing from these Democratic officials. So someone like a Hochul, who would probably be disliked generally, may benefit from a bump in response to someone like a Stefanik or a Mike Lawler running against her, because they would both be considered Trump acolytes, and therefore there would be more visceral reaction against them just by that, regardless of policy, regardless of manner, regardless of character and all that.
But and I agree with you, but if you pull another close New Jersey race to within 3, 4, even 5 points, and the New York race for governor, you keep it under 10, all of a sudden those congressional seats upstate stay in play for the Republican Party. New York City doomed, obviously, but those purple districts upstate New York and scattered throughout New Jersey, the closer those gubernatorial races are, the better those midterm results will turn out for the Republican Party.
Yeah, as long as you don't run a George Santos, you're all set to go. Well, all right, so no, with segments over.
Party is weak and gay, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, you're right.
Anyways, final thought time, pal. I'm going to go first here because I just want to make a quick little announcement here that we might be getting our first sponsor here on the show, which would be exciting for our fans as well because, by the way, Coffee Grind saying have a safe week. You too, pal. I'll be thinking about you. You can always shoot a comment on one of the videos here. My email is in our About section, so reach out if you need to. In all seriousness, definitely. I'm looking at the chat and I'm not looking at the screen. Reach out if you need to talk, if you want to bullshit or whatever. We're here, so we can definitely do that. And just showing that we do care about fans. This is sort of a good transition here. It looks like that our channel, Buffoon of the Week, is going to be partnering up with a new company and a new product called Freedom Chat. And we're going to be creating a channel on this app called Freedom Chat. It's sort of like Signal, except it's better encrypted, where you can pass messages on to each other privately and you have all your data privatized and safe. But it's also going to be a hub for bonus content on a channel on that app. So you'll finally see Ross Galloway unleashed and uncensored, for instance, is one of the things we're going to be planning. You're going to be seeing, hopefully, some more interaction between us with opportunities for polls and some bonus videos and some quizzes that we do on the website. Sometimes we'll put it on there as well. We're looking for avenues not just to make money, because, frankly, profitability is nowhere near our future. We're looking for interactivity. We're looking for opportunities to further interact with you in ways that you can't do in other places. So this is going to be one of those opportunities we're going to look at. You'll be hearing more about that, hopefully, in the weeks to come. And that's my final thought. It's totally a grift, and I don't really care, because Russ really likes it when I grift for some reason. And, yeah, there you go. Your time, pal. Or anything you want to talk about.
It's painful to watch sometimes, but it is funny. My final thought is a short one. I don't normally talk about my time in the military, because that's somewhat private. But I'm going to say this about the Iranian conflict and the potential of one. I'm not convinced that we should get involved. We've been down the road of regime change and weapons of mass destruction being imminent and preemptive wars. And I just don't think we have a very good track record over the last 20 plus years in those types of conflicts. No matter what we say we're going to do or what the objective is, I am not fully convinced we should get involved in any way, shape, or form, not only in Ukraine and Russia, but in Iran and Israel, right? We should not be involved in every conflict. That's my final thought.
Absolutely. I'm just talking to Corporate Grinder in the chat right there, letting him know more about the app because he has some questions about it. It's going to be really cool if we can pull this off, and we're going to be looking to do it in the near future. Yeah, I tend to agree with you about going into that. And honestly, I didn't want to bring up anything with Iran because there's so much unsettled right now about what's going to be happening. So, yeah. That'll do it for us right now. And normally what we do after the show is we play our anthem. We have a good time in the comments, so stick around for that. I'll be putting up some comments that you can all laugh at while the song plays us out. But other than that, it's time to shut this down, right, bro?
Please shut it down, Gene, before I get in trouble.
You're going to get in trouble because I'm watching you, you son of a bitch. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in to Behind Enemy Lines. I'm Gene. He's Ross. Like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff as we head out the show with our motherfucking anthem. Thank you, guys. Good night. See you next week.
We're not allowed, not without electro.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Teeth, don't let them have sway.